All right, guys, we're going to go over your warm-up for today. So first, you're going to list the planets in order from the sun. So remember the acronym hold on. Okay, so I'm going to use the acronym to write out the letters first, and then I'll go back and plug in the names of the planets. So I've got my very educated mother just served us nachos. So now that I have my mind working in that direction, now that I have my acronym out, now I can go back and complete it. So remember, it's Mercury is the first M. Then we have Venus, Earth, Mars. Oops, I spelled it wrong, but that's okay. Mars, Jupiter. Jupiter. And guys, don't stress a whole lot about the spelling here. I'm going to grade these myself, and so I'll understand what you're saying. Just do your best on the spelling. Okay, so we've got Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Okay. All right, now number 2. Select only the statements that are true about the sun. All right, so it causes volcanoes to erupt. That is not true. That is false. The sun has nothing to do with volcanic eruption. Okay, so it is a yellow dwarf star. That is true. Remember that the sun, we tend to think that it's like this really big star, right? But it's actually not. It's not a very big star at all. It's classified as it's more like a medium-sized star, or if you want to do the classification, it's a yellow dwarf star. And it looks big to us only because it's closest to us. So, yellow dwarf star, that is true. It's always shining even at midnight. So remember that the Earth is turning. And so we are turning as we revolve around the sun. And so when it is dark outside, it's not that the sun is turning off. It doesn't turn off and on like a light bulb, right? It's a star, and stars shine all the time. So when it's dark for us, it's dark because our part of the Earth is actually turning away from the sun. So that's all that's happening. So technically, this is true. The sun is always shining. It's just that we don't always see it. Okay, it's the biggest star in the universe. That is false. Remember, it's not a very big star. Okay, it's the closest star to Earth. That is true. That is the reason that it looks so big to us, is because it's closest to us. Much closer to us than all the other stars. It provides the heat necessary to form fossil fuels. Okay, so yes, it does provide heat, but it is not providing the heat for fossil fuels. Remember, when fossil fuels are created, that heat comes from inside the Earth. So this is false. It provides energy to all organisms on Earth. That's true. The sun, almost all energy on Earth can be traced back to the sun. All right, identify each event as predictable or unpredictable. So this is a 4th grade review, 3rd and 4th grade. And we've talked about it a little bit this year on other warm-ups. So we're just looking at things. I mean, it's just like it sounds. We're looking at deciding whether something happens predictably or unpredictably. So life cycle of a butterfly. Okay, so here's the thing that I want you to remember when you're looking at predictable versus unpredictable. Things that happen over and over again the same way every time are going to be predictable, right? Because it happens in a pattern or in a cycle. And so it's easy to tell what's coming next because it happens the same way every time. Things that don't happen in a cycle, things that do not happen in a pattern, tend to be unpredictable. So predictable things would be things like a life cycle. So all life cycles would be classified as predictable because life cycles are a cycle. They happen the same way at the same time every time. And so it happens as a kind of pattern. So it's very easy to predict what's coming next. Earthquakes would be unpredictable because we don't always know when they're coming. We don't know how big they'll be or where they will hit or what kind of damage they'll do. So they're unpredictable. And you'll find that most like storms and natural disasters are going to be unpredictable. Okay, the rotation of the Earth. So the rotation of the Earth is predictable because it's a cycle, right? We rotate once every 24 hours. We always rotate the same direction at the same speed. The sun rises and the sun sets, and it happens every single day. So it is predictable. We know that the Earth will rotate. We know when it's going to rotate, or we know when we're going to rotate away from the sun and when we're going to rotate towards it. So it's predictable. Thunderstorms would also be unpredictable. So Something students have told me in the past is, but, when you turn on the Weather Channel, they'll tell you a storm is coming. So that's true. They do their best to predict it because that's their job. But the weather's wrong sometimes, right? And especially whenever they're looking at thunderstorms, they'll think it's going to be small or large, and then when it actually comes, they may have been wrong. So we call them unpredictable because while we do our best, while weathermen do their best to predict it, it's an unpredictable thing. We can't know for sure how they're going to turn out because thunderstorms don't happen in a pattern and they don't happen as a cycle. Same with, I'm going to skip down to tornadoes because it's the same way with tornadoes. So tornadoes would be unpredictable for the same reason. We don't know. They can issue warnings. They can look at conditions and think that maybe there might be one, and that's why they issue the warnings. But they don't know for sure because, again, tornadoes do not happen in a cycle or as a pattern. Phases of the moon, however, do happen in a pattern. We see the same phases over in the same pattern every month. So it's the same sequence. Starts with the full moon and works its way to half moon and crescent and all those shapes in the same exact pattern every month. And so it's predictable because we can tell what's coming next because it happens in a pattern. All right. A glacier is pictured below. So here we have the glacier working its way down this mountainside. Millions of years from now, after the glacier is gone, what landform will most likely be left? So we have glacier, and basically it's asking what kind of landform is created by a glacier. So if you remember, glaciers slowly are basically like big frozen, slowly moving rivers. And so as they come down that mountainside, they are carving out a U-shaped valley in the sides of the mountain. And so that would be your answer. All right, a process that squeezes layers of sediment together to form a sedimentary rock. So remember, the squeezing makes the layers smaller and more compact. So that would be compaction. Remember, compact means small, like a compact car. And so compaction is the squeezing of something and making it smaller. All right, and then the picture below illustrates what process. So if you look, you've got pressure pushing down, and then you've got all these layers. But if you look at the arrow, it's showing you that this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like after. So if you look, it's a lot smaller now in the after picture than before. And so if you look back, the layers were squeezed down and they were made smaller. So again, that would be compaction.